In January of 1980, Kiwi art rockers turned new wavers Split Enz released their fifth proper album, True Colors, and from it, the instrumental Double Happy, a showcase for keyboard setting Rayner. Okay, and I love how True Colors is a really apt album title for containing two tracks, as we're going to hear, rich in tonal colors, as in Eddie Rayner's keyboard sounds that he plays on this, and that swirling sound that we're hearing that led us right into this. I love that kind of a very envelope sounds. I mean that like kind of airy swirl that's behind it. I think I'm hearing maybe three layers going on once. I'm hearing kind of like a bubbly. I'm hearing that carrying the main melody. I'm hearing that kind of swirly sound behind it. That bubbly sound, that wah. And of course, I'm hearing Malcolm Green's very persistent drum pattern. It's kind of got a sort of dampness to it that really fits the arrangement. It seems to me that this track is primarily Eddie Rayner and the rhythm section of Nigel Griggs and Malcolm Green. Like pots or pans. I think that might be Noel Crombie doing like pots and pans percussion. Okay, and that must be Neil Finn coming in with a bit of guitar there. Yeah. Like tremolo or something. I love that melody right there. That's and now Nigel Griggs is giving us a little bit more do 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 do. Now that I think, if you just isolate the rhythm section, I like do 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 do. It's a little bit like Raven by the Stranglers. Yeah. A perfect like track for like a goth night or a new wave night. It's totally like got dance floor written all over it. Like I can see moody people just kind of like zoned out doing like. Yeah, I appreciate Noel Crombie and his like musical contributions when you can like pinpoint them. Yeah. at this point, Nigel Griggs is becoming like a key element in the compelling, like active ingredients of this. Like the way that he's like rolling up like on that note change and sliding up and down. Yeah, and we've got some new sounds layering on. Oh, they could carry that out much longer, and I would just be in bliss. Yeah, I love that key change right as it goes from like A, like major seven, I think, to C. No, 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 and that bass line right there. Yeah, with that bubbling over sound of the keyboards. Yeah. Double Happy, yeah, an Eddie Rayner track from True Colors by 1980 Split Enz release, yeah. Released just at like the dawn of 1980. Some releases have even, I think, I think it may have come out like the tail end, like December of 79 in certain territory, maybe down under. Yeah, this True Colors, released in the Northern Hemisphere with laser etched vinyl, one of the first examples where when you would play the album, if you held a light over it, you could see the colored laser etchings and hold a certain light and it would like almost look like a color wheel, just zapping right at you. It was a gimmick that A&M was using. Like the following year, they did it on the Styx album Paradise Theater. They also did it on like at least one of Split Enz's singles from around this time. Yeah. Anyway, this was their fifth proper album, or their fourth if you just want to go by albums with entirely made up of original material, or their sixth if you count the Beginning of the Ends compilation, which compiled all their pre-first album material that was largely unavailable outside of New Zealand until then. Yeah, let's hear the other instrumental off True Colors, the side two closer, the Choral Sea. Okay, already you can tell that there's an influence on this, that it's the influence of Giorgio Moroder and his work from around that time, like From Here to Eternity, or some of his production work from around that, but particularly From Here to Eternity, yeah. I love how it's just like swelling up like that. Well, like the sea. Great riff. I love that first we have that sound that's like the active ingredient and like the tonal color that and then we have like this riff which really just gives it this punctual feel. Okay, so much going on here. We've got these. I just love how the melody floats along these chromatic, these half steps. Yeah, it just kind of like lowers half a step. And once again, this is dominated by the interplay. Well, it's dominated primarily by Eddie Rayner and his keyboards. And it's, the magic is in the interplay between him and bassist Nigel Griggs. Yeah, and those sliding notes that Griggs is playing. Okay, hear that like whispering sample that's being injected. A perfect interjection here. Yeah, Dave Tickle, the producer of this album, really, this was like I would say his main masterstroke on the album. Like finding a way to like assemble all these like just these sonic elements. And I just love how that melody goes up half a step before it goes into that bridge. It goes no, 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 and then it goes da no no no. Or actually, the bass line underneath that melody just raises half a step while the melody stays the same. No, no, and then into the bridge. That sequence of notes just slays me. That now either the bass has gotten more trebly or they've like tweaked it somewhat, or Neil Finn is cutting in and doing some kind of like lower string. Great bridge right there. You know, I heard this in a movie once. I don't know what it was. It was like made in the mid '80s. There were some people staying outside a club, and this was apparently the song playing the. And this too would be a perfect club song. Yeah. That spiraling, that and that when it hits that like lower note, when it hits that F. Okay, that's Neil Finn giving us that main theme, that near. Now we're kind of going into somewhat of a dissonant dirge here, like in, well, kind of, it's basically like C minor, and kind of like going off the rails a little bit tone-wise. Okay, hear that kind of like laboratory, like that kind of like oscillating sounds, and we're getting some unusual percussion here. There's a sound coming up that. That bass line is like so throbbing, like underneath all this. It kind of is creating like the sonic. Giving us like the sonic sense of like deep sea, you know, like sea bed, and underneath the like the swelling layers of Eddie Rayner's keyboards. One question: what is Tim Finn doing during these songs? Yeah. Now, while Malcolm Green is giving us that persistent, you know, disco beat, that sliding hi-hat, Noel Crombie, I think, is giving us some of those odd percussive elements, like perhaps played on like medals in the studio, perhaps like just sort of an assortment of. sundry percussive objects. Okay, there's like a windy sound that's coming up, and it's made. I once heard someone waving a hose, kind of thing, a tube in the air, flexible tube in the air, and it made a sound exactly like this. I don't know. Did you hear that? That. Yeah, I remember when this album was relatively new to me back like 30 years ago. Was in this class and someone had this flexible hose that they were waving around over their head. This guy was waving it around over his head, and it was making a sound exactly like that sound heard just kind of in the fade out of this. Yeah, that was I don't know what the object was though, or I haven't heard. This is the only recording I've heard that sound in. Yeah, the Choral Sea by Split Enz, the closing track on their 1980 release True Colors, and before that Double Happy from Side A. The two instrumentals by Eddie Rayner, the keyboardist, from that great album. He would also write he would also have two instrumentals on the follow-up album Waiata, Choral Sea, depending on the country you were in, and then one on Time and Tide, their 1982 release, and in all cases they're among like the highlights of the album. Yeah, these two being among the strongest tracks. In addition to the Giorgio Moroder influence, I would say that Synergy may have also. I don't know. I'm thinking of the album Games from 1979. That track that I did like. Oh, just a little more than a month ago. That the rhythmic element is similar anyway. Maybe not the tonal colors, but they're both like electronic pieces with sort of a driving kind of disco, space age, futuristic, or this being more like, I should say, aquatic than rather than it. Yeah, like although it's hard not to say. It's hard to oftentimes not to describe electronic music from this period as spacey, even if it is also like aquatic. But that's the beauty of electronic music. It can take you up into the stars, it can take you to the Emission Nebula, or it can take you deep into the sea. Or in some cases, like Klaus Schultz, it can take you to the Arctic. There's, it can take you to the icy waters of the North Pole. Yeah. Split Enz, yeah, great band that continually reinvented themselves between the mid-70s and through the early 1980s, and this bringing them to the modern age, tightening their compositional syntax, but still very experimental and willing to, incorporate sound and different odd elements and discorded moments here and there, yeah. And I just... it's too bad Eddie Rayner's couldn't have been a little bit more prolific, but the few originals he was able to come up with for the band in their prime are definitely added a dimension to their legacy. And for some of us, they're the standouts, yeah. For more Rubies and Sapphires from the catalog of Split Enz, see the directory of albums by Kiwi artists, or, New Zealand artists. And at this point, actually, Split Enz were, they had 4 Kiwis and 2 Englishmen. Yeah, the rhythm section were English at this point, yeah. In fact, Nigel and Malcolm Green, who would leave... No, he would leave about a year later. He would leave right after the recording of Waiata. They were in the band Octopus, an English kind of post-psych hard rock band. And more importantly, though, than that, they put out a single as the Cortinas. Yeah, Phoebe's Flower Shop, a great pop psych single. Yeah, a Rebel classic from 1968. And then that band splintered off into Octopus, and then later on, Nigel Griggs was briefly involved in with the guys in Con, Steve Hillage and Dave Stewart, and when they were Con, but pre Hatfield, pre Gong, and then his brother, meanwhile, ended up in Guys and Dolls, this like UK Lawrence Welk review type of middle type MOR vocal act that had like 6 couples in it, and 2 of them splintered off into the MOR pop duo Dollar. Yeah, and there's a picture of Nigel Griggs right after he joined Split Enz, shaking hands with his brother, who was in Guys and Dolls, and just it's like the meeting of 2, yeah, brothers, of course, who had previously been in the Cortinas together, but the meaning of 2 just so different worlds. Yeah, knowing what Split Enz looked like, of course, in circa 1977. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, the directory of albums by artists from Australasia, Oceania, yeah, one big directory, about 400 albums, yeah, from the 70s and 80s, yeah. In the description below. Like and subscribe, follow me on social media, share the video, and leave a comment if there are any observations you have about the 2 tracks we just heard, the tonal color, the rhythmic sequencing, the bubbling of the synth sounds, and the interplay of like bass and selective guitar parts and percussion, yeah, just the imagery it conjured up in your mind, yeah. What colors did you see? What visuals? What moments and nuances stood out to you? Yeah. And until next time, this is Zaragon, the world's most ear travel maximalist, signing off.